According to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, the words race and racism are relatively new to the English language, with no known citations prior to the 20th century, even though their concepts existed. Webster's dictionary defines racism as the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. The Cambridge Dictionary offers the following definition: policies, behaviors, rules, etc., that result in a continued unfair advantage to some people and unfair or harmful treatment of others based on race. From these definitions, we might then easily conclude that for racism to occur, there must be at least two populations of people where one population feels superior and may often take unfair advantage of the other.
But what about the word racist? Is it the same? Webster's applies nearly the same definition for racist as they do racism, but directed in the context of one's personal views and actions. The Cambridge Dictionary defines a racist as someone who believes that their race makes them better, more intelligent, more moral, etc., than people of other races, and who does or says unfair or harmful things as a result. Given these definitions, and in light of the ways that anti-Black racism is seen and experienced in the United States, many people feel that African Americans cannot be racist, that racism is something held exclusively to whites. However, what is equally significant to these definitions is the lack of the requirement of dominance by a majority. Simply put, the only requirement is for one population to feel that they are superior to another.
This brings us to the definitions of two additional words, grudge and begrudge. We shall use the Cambridge definitions for both. Grudge is defined as a strong feeling of anger and dislike for a person who you feel has treated you badly, especially one that lasts for a long time. Begrudge is defined in the following two ways. 1. To feel unhappy because someone has something that you think they do not deserve. And 2, to feel unhappy about spending money on something or spending time doing something.
I think it's fair to say that when a Black person is upset by acts of racism, a grudge develops. They develop a strong sense of dislike and at times even hatred towards the perpetrators of racist acts. When those same or similar racist activities are continually repeated, a bias against the offending population forms, trust is broken, and the seeds of dissension are sown. Quite often, such bias leads to hatred. Blacks can be racist. However, it is not in a form generally seen by non-Black populations. It is often manifested in a form of racism called internal racism. It is where Blacks deride other Blacks due to the lightness or darkness of their skin, or even the nappiness of their hair. The list of things that may cause a Black person to become the subject of racial ridicule from members of their own ethnic community is egregious and sometimes seems endless.
The overwhelming commonality to racism, regardless of its origin, is that the victims are hurt. Amongst Blacks and whites, it is both the seed and fuel of prejudices, which in the words of Baha'u'llah are the destroyers of human happiness and welfare. According to Abdul-Baha, Baha'u'llah has also taught that prejudices, whether religious, racial, patriotic or political, are destructive to the foundations of human development. Until they are dispelled, the advancement of the world of humanity is not possible, yet racial, religious and national bias are observed everywhere. For thousands of years, the world of humanity has been agitated and disturbed by prejudices. As long as it prevails, warfare, animosity, and hatred will continue. Therefore, if we seek to establish peace, we must cast aside this obstacle, for otherwise agreement and composure are not to be attained. This brief look at racism, we begin to learn how it is not something confined to a single population, but can be manifested within any group. Regardless of their origin, racist attitudes and acts of racism are harmful in their concept, harmful in their development, and harmful in the actions they evoke. So I ask you, is it not time that we learn how to do something other than to make us unhappy?